Hey guys, tonight we're stepping back in time, way back to the heart of the ancient Maya civilization. We're not going to talk about kings or great battles, but about a life lived between the earthly and the divine. You're going to become a priest, a high ranking spiritual guide in a world of towering pyramids, dense jungles, and rituals you can barely imagine. It's a life of immense power and profound responsibility, but also one of isolation and intense physical and mental demands. It's the kind of job where you're not just respected, you're the very link between your people and the gods. Let's be real, though, you probably wouldn't survive a single week. The training alone would break most of us. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. I love seeing how far these stories travel. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your journey, and it is your journey now, begins not in a temple, but in the quiet shadows of a small mud brick home. You're a child no older than 4 or 5, and you don't yet understand the gravity of the choice that has been made for you. Your parents, with a mixture of immense pride and quiet sorrow, have offered you to the gods, not as a sacrifice in the way you might think, but as a servant, a vessel for divine will. You're set apart from the other children. While they run and play in the fields chasing butterflies and splashing in the cenotes, your world is one of quiet observance. You are taken to the local priest, an old man with deep-set eyes that seem to see not just you, but the very patterns of the cosmos woven into your soul. He doesn't teach you to play games. He teaches you to be still, to listen to the whisper of the wind through the maze stalks, to see the way the light shifts on the temple walls as the sun moves across the sky. Your training is a slow, methodical stripping away of the ordinary. The first thing you must shed is your childish innocence, replacing it with a sense of solemnity that is far too old for you. You begin with simple tasks. You learn to sweep the temple floors not just to clean them, but to feel the grain of the stone beneath the palm fibers of the broom. You learn to prepare the ritual fires, stacking the wood, just so understanding that the shape of the smoke as it rises is a message to the gods. You are taught the names of the gods, their stories, their intricate and sometimes contradictory personalities. You learn of Itzamna, the creator, and Ixchel, the goddess of medicine and childbirth. You learn of the fearsome Chak, the god of rain, who could bring life-giving showers or devastating floods. The stories are not just tales to be memorized, they are the very fabric of your reality. The old priest tells them to you as if they happened yesterday, and in a sense they did. They are eternal, ever-present forces shaping your world. Your diet changes too. You are no longer given the simple, hearty meals of the common folk. Your food is prepared specially, often consisting of maize cakes and vegetables with meat and spices reserved for sacred ceremonies. It is a form of purification, a way of making your body a clean vessel. You spend hours in a state of quiet contemplation, learning to still your mind and to listen for the voices that are not spoken aloud. This is perhaps the most difficult part of your early training. It's one thing to learn the names of the gods, but quite another to learn to hear their silence. This is a fascinating historical detail. Many Mayan priests were chosen from the nobility, but their training was so rigorous and exclusive that it created a distinct class of its own, separate even from the ruling elite. You are part of this new class, a man set apart not by birth, but by divine purpose. As you grow older, the training becomes more intense. The old priest begins to teach you the calendar. Not the simple 365-day solar calendar, but the complex interlocking cycles of the Solkan, the 260-day sacred calendar, and the Hab, the 365-day solar calendar. You learn how to calculate the Katuns and Baktuns, the vast cycles of time that stretch back into the mists of history and forward into an unimaginable future. You learn to read the stone carvings, the intricate hieroglyphs that tell the stories of your ancestors and the prophecies of the future. This is the part that truly sets you apart. While most people live in the present, you are a master of time itself, able to look backward and forward, connecting your people to a grand cosmic narrative. The physical demands of your training are just as rigorous as the mental ones. You are required to fast for long periods, to go without food and water, to achieve a heightened state of spiritual awareness. You are taught to endure pain without complaint, to understand that suffering is a form of offering. You practice the dances and chants that will be a part of every ceremony. These are not simple movements. They are complex rhythmic performances that can go on for hours, wearing down your body and freeing your mind. The discipline is absolute. There is no room for error, no space for laziness. Your life and the well-being of your entire community depends on your perfection. One of the most profound lessons you learn is that the world is a living, breathing thing, and you are just one small part of its great cosmic dance. The maize you eat is not just a plant, it is a gift from the maize god Yum Kayax. The rain that falls is a blessing from Chak. The very stones beneath your feet are imbued with spiritual energy. You are not just a person walking through a landscape, you are a participant in a sacred drama, and every action you take has consequences both for you and for the entire world. This is a common historical fact. The Maya had a profoundly animistic worldview, believing that spirits and divine energy were present in everything from mountains to pottery. You're a teenager now, and your training is nearing its end. You have learned the calendars, the gods, the rituals, and the chants. But there is one final crucial step of Vision Quest. You are sent alone into the deep jungle with only a small amount of food and water to spend several days in a state of fasting and meditation. You must find a place of power, a cave or a natural spring, and there you must commune with the gods. It is a terrifying ordeal. The jungle is a place of shadows and strange noises, a world of jaguars and snakes. But you are not meant to be a hunter or a warrior. You are meant to be a priest, and your weapon is your faith and your training. You must face your fears not with a spear, but with a silent prayer. In the quiet of the jungle, you see things. The shifting shadows on the cave wall become faces. The whispers of the wind become voices. You might hallucinate, brought on by the combination of fasting and the mind-altering properties of certain plants you've been taught to consume. In this state, you finally have your vision. It is not always a grand, dramatic revelation. It might be a simple image, a jaguar, a serpent, a single star. But it is your vision, your personal connection to the divine, and it will guide you for the rest of your life. This is where academic debate comes in. Historians still debate whether these visions were purely psychological or were induced by psychoactive substances, though evidence from murals and pottery seems to suggest the latter was common. Either way, the experience is real and it changes you forever. You return from the jungle a changed person. You are no longer a boy. You are a man, a priest in training, now ready to take on the final stages of your education. You have faced the unknown, communed with the divine, and returned with a message. You are marked chosen, and the world is now different to you. The old priest looks at you not with the eyes of a teacher, but with the eyes of a colleague. The final phase of your training is not about learning, but about doing. You will begin to assist in ceremonies to take on the smaller, less crucial tasks, and to prove your worthiness not just to the gods, but to the people you are destined to serve. Your path is set, and it is a path of immense responsibility, profound isolation, and a lifelong devotion to the unseen forces that govern your world. You have become the bridge. You're no longer the boy who is sent into the jungle. Now you stand on the precipice of a new reality, one defined by numbers, cycles, and the silent language of the stars. Your training, which once seemed to be about ritual and spiritual discipline, now takes on a more scientific, more cerebral quality. You are not just a priest. You are a celestial cartographer, a master of the night sky, and the burden of your people's future rests on your ability to read its intricate patterns. This is where your true power begins to manifest in a way that transcends mere faith. The old priest, your mentor, now treats you less like a student and more like a junior colleague. He leads you away from the ceremonial chambers and into a different kind of sacred space, the observatory. This isn't a modern observatory with telescopes and domes. It's a stone platform high on a pyramid, exposed to the elements, a place where you must learn to read the cosmos with nothing but your eyes and the simple instruments you've been taught to use. Your tools are a cross staff, a gnomon, a simple vertical stick that casts a shadow, and your own honed senses. You spend countless nights on that platform, your back, aching your eyes, straining, watching the constellations wheel across the dark tapestry of the night. You learn to recognize the Pleiades, which the Maya called the rattlesnake tail, and the belt of Orion known as the turtle. These aren't just pretty pictures in the sky, they are signposts, guides, and divine messengers. You learn to track the movement of Venus, which the Maya considered a powerful and malevolent god of war, a harbinger of conflict and change. Its helical rising the moment it appears in the dawn sky after its inferior conjunction is a critical moment, an astronomical event that demands a specific ritual response. You learn that the stars are not just fixed points of light, but a living clock, a calendar that governs all of life on Earth. The position of the sun on the solstice marks the longest and shortest days of the year, a moment for profound religious significance. The cycles of the moon dictate the timing of certain rituals and ceremonies, but your most important task is to master the intricate relationship between the celestial and the agricultural. You must be able to predict the seasons to know when to plant the maize, when to harvest the cacao, when to expect the life-giving rains. You are in effect the weather forecaster for your entire community, but with a lot more at stake than just whether people need to carry an umbrella. A miscalculation could lead to crop failure, famine, and the wrath of the gods. The pressure is immense. This is a little-known historical fact. The Maya were incredibly sophisticated astronomers, able to calculate the cycles of the sun, moon, and planets with astonishing accuracy, sometimes even surpassing the precision of European astronomers of the same period. They didn't have telescopes, but they had patience, a deep understanding of mathematics, and a profound reverence for the cosmos. This reverence is what sets your knowledge apart from a simple scientific discipline. You aren't just observing, you are communing. You are asking the stars for their blessing, for their guidance. You learn to read not just where they are, but what they mean. For example, historians still debate whether the Maya's astronomical knowledge was purely for ritualistic purposes, or if it also had a more secular, practical application in everyday life. For you, the two are inseparable. The practicality of planting and the divinity of the stars are one and the same. You cannot have one without the other. One night, as you are meticulously charting the path of the moon, the old priest places a hand on your shoulder. "Look closely," he whispers, "not just at where it is, but where it has been. The past is the key to the future." He is talking about the cycles, the grand pattern of time that governs everything. You spend years poring over ancient codices, the precious folded books made from bark paper, filled with hieroglyphs and astronomical tables. You learn to read the Mayan numerals, a vigesimal base 20 system that uses dots and bars to represent numbers. You learn how to use the zero-A concept the Maya had independently developed centuries before it was used in Europe. This isn't just math. It's a sacred language, a way of speaking to the very fabric of time. A funny thought pops into your head: if only they could have known how much we rely on a zero now in a world of zeros and ones. Your days are filled with calculations, with the quiet scratch of a stylus on bark paper. You are no longer running errands or sweeping floors. You are a scholar, a mathematician, a keeper of sacred knowledge. The other priests, those who specialize in rituals or healing, come to you for guidance. They need to know the most auspicious day for a bloodletting ceremony, the best time to perform a rain dance, the right moment to dedicate a new temple. Your calculations dictate their actions. The king himself sends emissaries to you seeking your counsel before making a major decision, whether it's a declaration of war or the marriage of his daughter. You are not a politician, but you are a part of the political machine, an unseen hand, guiding the destiny of your people. As you spend more time on the pyramid, you learn to see the world from a different perspective. You see the vast jungle stretching out to the horizon, a sea of green under a vast star-filled sky. You see the city below, the bustling market, the quiet homes, the lives of the people you serve. You realize that your work, your meticulous calculations and quiet observations are not for you. They are for them. You are their guide, their shepherd, the one who watches while they sleep, ensuring that the cosmic order is maintained. You are the one who understands that the gods are not just to be worshipped, but to be understood, their will deciphered in the language of the stars. The training is relentless. You must memorize complex tables of dates and events, learn the names of hundreds of constellations and celestial bodies, and understand the intricate interlocking cycles of the calendars. You are taught to predict eclipses, both solar and lunar, a terrifying but crucial skill. An eclipse is a moment of profound danger, a time when the sun or moon is being eaten by a celestial monster. Your job is to prepare the people for this event, to lead the rituals and chants that will drive the monster away and restore order to the cosmos. A simple miscalculation could lead to a panic, a loss of faith in you and your divine knowledge, and potentially disaster. As you stand on the top of that pyramid, the cool night air on your skin, you realize that your life has been a slow climb, a journey from a small child in a hut to a man standing on the roof of the world, communing with the heavens. The old priest is getting frail. Soon he will be gone, and you will be the master, the one who guides the next generation. The responsibility is a heavy weight, but it is also a source of immense pride. You are a guardian of knowledge, a keeper of time, a link between the mortals on the ground and the gods in the sky. Your journey is far from over. In fact, it's only just begun. The calendars are turning, the seasons are shifting, and the gods are waiting for their due. Your hands, once used for sweeping and carrying, are now the instruments of a much more profound and visceral duty. The gentle, contemplative world of astronomy and calendars now gives way to the raw, demanding reality of sacred ritual. You are entering the most intense and, for many, the most shocking phase of your training, the mastery of blood smoke and sacred offerings. The serene nights on the pyramid are replaced by the flickering, smoke-filled interiors of the temples, where the gods are not distant stars but hungry, demanding entities who require constant attention and appeasement. This is the heart of your priesthood, a role that connects you to the life-giving and life-taking cycles of the cosmos in the most direct way possible. You are first taught the simplest of all offerings, one that you will make thousands of times in your life, the offering of your own blood. This is not a symbolic gesture. It is a physical, painful act of devotion. You learn to pierce your earlobes, your tongue, your lips, and even your genitals with obsidian blades, stingray spines, and sharpened bone needles. The blood drips onto strips of bark paper, which are then burned in a censer. The smoke from the burning paper, imbued with your own life force, rises to the heavens, a direct message to the gods. You are taught that this act is not about pain, but about giving a part of yourself to the divine, a form of self-sacrifice that mirrors the great sacrifices the gods made to create the world. You learn to endure the pain, to see it not as suffering, but as a necessary step on the path to spiritual enlightenment. This is a common historical fact. Bloodletting rituals were central to Mayan religious practice, and were performed by both priests and rulers as a way to commune with the gods and ensure the well-being of the community. The smoke is as important as the blood. You are taught to prepare copal, a tree resin, and other fragrant woods and herbs to create a dense, sweet-smelling smoke that fills the temple. The smoke acts as a portal, a physical pathway for your prayers and offerings to reach the heavens. The swirling, fragrant clouds are also believed to be a manifestation of the gods themselves, a sign of their presence. You learn the specific chants and movements that accompany the burning of the copal, the rhythms and intonations that are believed to please the gods and make them more receptive to your pleas. You begin to understand that a ceremony is a work of art, a performance crafted to move not just the people, but the gods themselves. Your training now extends to more significant and more gruesome offerings. While the blood of a priest is the most common offering, the gods sometimes demand more. You are taught the proper way to sacrifice animals, from small birds to large jaguars. This is a delicate and intricate process requiring a precise knowledge of anatomy and ritual. The animal is not just killed, it is offered its life force given over to the gods. You learn to ritually prepare the animal, to chant the proper prayers, and to perform the final act with a clean, swift motion that honors the creature's life, even as you take it. You are taught that the shedding of blood, whether your own or an animal's, is a way of paying a debt to the gods, a way of giving back a small part of the immense life force they have given you. The most profound and terrifying part of this training is the preparation for human sacrifice. It's a truth that must be faced head-on. The Maya sometimes offered human life to the gods, especially during times of great crisis or for the dedication of a new temple or ruler. You are taught that this is not a random act of violence, but a profound and final offering. The victim, often a captured enemy king or a powerful warrior, is seen not as a person but as a living gift to the gods, their lifeblood a powerful source of divine energy. You learn the precise rituals, the chants, and the movements that accompany this ultimate sacrifice. You are taught that your role is not to be a killer, but a facilitator, a guide who helps the soul of the victim on its journey to the next world, where it will serve the gods for eternity. This is a crucial historical fact. Human sacrifice in the Maya world was a highly ritualized and deeply religious act, not a casual display of brutality. It was a rare but profound event that held immense spiritual significance. Historians still debate whether human sacrifice was a regular part of Mayan life or a desperate measure reserved for times of great need. You, however, know that it is part of the grand cycle of life and death that governs everything. You understand that in your world the line between life and death is thin, and your job is to walk that line to understand its power and to use it for the good of your people. You learn to be detached, to see the act not with emotion but with the cold, clear eyes of a servant of the divine. A funny thought might cross your mind during one of these solemn rituals. A modern person would probably think you're a monster. But to you, this is the most loving, most devoted thing you could possibly do for your community. Your training in ritual also involves the use of hallucinogenic substances. You are taught to prepare drinks made from fermented honey and herbs, or to ingest certain fungi to achieve a state of trance. In this state, you believe you can travel to the underworld Xibalba to commune with the gods and the spirits of your ancestors. The visions are often terrifying and disorienting, a maelstrom of colors and sounds, but you have been taught to navigate them to find the messages hidden within the chaos. You must be able to return from your journey and relay the prophecies and warnings you have received, no matter how strange or terrifying they might be. This phase of your training is both terrifying and exhilarating. You are a master of life and death, a conduit for immense spiritual energy. You are no longer just a scholar of the stars. You are a performer of the most sacred and profound rituals imaginable. You understand that your hands, which have held the delicate codices, must now hold the razor-sharp obsidian blades. You are the bridge between the two worlds, the gentle and the terrifying, and your training is preparing you to walk that bridge with a steady hand and a resolute heart. The world of your people is a place of profound beauty and profound horror, and you are being taught to embrace both, to understand that they are two sides of the same sacred coin. The quiet moments of study and the visceral rituals of sacrifice have prepared you for this next pivotal stage. You are no longer just a student or a ritual assistant. You are becoming a political figure, an essential part of the intricate, often treacherous machinery of the Mayan court. You are the bridge between the mortal ruler and the divine will, navigating a world filled with political intrigue, shifting alliances, and the immense weight of ancient traditions. Your home is no longer the simple mud brick dwelling of your childhood, nor is it the quiet temple. It is the bustling stone-walled palace, a place of immense beauty and constant danger. Your role as an advisor to the ruler, the Kuhul Ajau or Holy Lord, is perhaps the most delicate of all your duties. The king is not just a man, he is a god-king, a living embodiment of the divine on earth. Yet he is also a mortal subject to the whims of politics and the needs of his people. Your job is to guide him to interpret the signs from the cosmos and the will of the gods and to translate them into actionable advice. You must tell him when it is auspicious to go to war, when to arrange a marriage alliance, when to perform a major building project. Your counsel is not a suggestion. It is a divine command filtered through your knowledge and expertise. A humorous, anachronistic thought, you are essentially the king's chief of staff, but your performance review is conducted by the gods. The court is a labyrinth of power. There are other priests, each with their own specialty and their own ambitions. There are military commanders, noble families, and scribes all vying for the king's ear. You must learn to read not just the stars, but the faces of the people around you. You must know who is a loyal ally and who is a potential rival. Your words must be carefully chosen, your advice subtly delivered. You cannot be seen as power-hungry, for that would undermine your divine authority. You must always present yourself as a humble servant of the gods, a vessel through which their will is expressed. This is a difficult balancing act, a performance you must maintain at all times. This is a little-known fact. While priests were powerful, they often had to navigate complex political landscapes and could be a target of intrigue, much like court advisors in any other civilization. You are now a part of the major ceremonies that define the life of the city-state. You stand by the king's side as he presides over the dedication of a new temple, a massive structure built to honor a specific god. You are there when he undergoes a public bloodletting ceremony, piercing his tongue with a stingray spine and pulling a rope of thorns through the wound to show his devotion. You are a crucial part of these rituals, a silent partner, a source of spiritual power that validates the king's rule. Without your presence, his actions would be merely political. With you, they are divine. Your work also involves the darker side of court life. You are called upon to perform rituals of divination to discover the source of a plague or the identity of a traitor. You must interpret dreams and omens, and sometimes you are asked to perform curses on enemy cities or their rulers. This is not a task you relish, but it is a necessary one. You are a tool of the state, a spiritual weapon wielded by the king to protect his people and extend his power. This aspect of your role is a source of ongoing academic debate. Historians still argue over the precise extent to which Mayan religion was used as a tool of political control, rather than being a purely spiritual force. For you, the two are inextricably linked. The gods are political and politics are divine. Life in the palace is one of stark contrasts. You live in a place of immense wealth and beauty, surrounded by intricate carvings, colorful murals, and the finest textiles. You eat the best food, your every need attended to by servants. Yet you are also isolated, set apart from the very people you are meant to serve. You are not a warrior or a farmer or a merchant. You are a priest, and your world is one of ritual and prophecy. Your friends are not the people you grew up with, but other priests, scribes, and high-ranking nobles. People who understand the immense pressure of your position. As you grow older, your influence increases. You are no longer just an advisor. You are the keeper of the state's most sacred knowledge. The king listens to you because he has seen your prophecies come true. Your rituals bring rain, and your blessings lead to victory in battle. You have proven yourself not just as a scholar or a ritualist, but as a true conduit for the divine. You are a pillar of the community, a source of stability in a world that can be turbulent and unpredictable. The responsibility is immense, but so is the respect you command. You are a master of a world of both power and peril, a world where a single misstep could lead to your downfall and the destruction of your people. Your journey continues, and it is a journey now deeply woven into the fate of your entire civilization. The weight of the court and the cosmos is immense, but your duties are not confined to the palace and the temple. Your role expands now to encompass the most fundamental and intimate aspect of your people's lives, their health. You become a healer, a master of medicinal plants and spiritual cures, a person who blends science, folklore, and magic to mend the sick and console the dying. You are now the community's physician, a responsibility as vital as any ritual or prophecy. Your training in this area began subtly alongside your other studies. The old priest taught you to identify the plants of the jungle, not just by their appearance, but by their medicinal properties. You learn to recognize the leaves that can be made into a poultice to stop a bleeding wound, the bark that can be brewed into a tea to reduce a fever, and the herbs that can be chewed to ease the pain of childbirth. The jungle, which once seemed a place of terror and mystery, is now your pharmacy, a vast and vibrant source of cures. You learn to forage, to prepare, and to administer these medicines with a careful hand. This is a common historical fact. The Maya had a sophisticated understanding of herbal medicine, with many of their remedies still in use today. You are also a master of spiritual healing. You understand that sickness is not just a physical ailment, it is a spiritual one. You know that a person might be sick because they have offended a god, or because a malevolent spirit has entered their body, or because they have been cursed by a rival. Your cures, therefore, are not just physical. They are rituals, chants, and offerings designed to appease the gods, to drive out evil spirits, and to break curses. You might perform a smudging ceremony burning copal to cleanse a sick person's home. You might lead a chant asking the god of medicine Ixchel to bless the patient and restore their health. You might even perform a small, non-lethal bloodletting, offering a drop of the patient's blood to the gods in exchange for a cure. Your reputation as a healer grows, and people from all walks of life come to you. The farmer with a broken leg, the mother whose child is suffering from a fever, the warrior with an infected wound, all of them turn to you for help. You are a source of comfort and hope in a world without modern medicine. You are not just a physician. You are a psychologist, a spiritual guide, and a friend. You listen to their stories, their fears, and their hopes. You offer them not just a cure, but a sense of peace, a feeling that they are not alone in their suffering. A humorous, anachronistic thought, you are the city's general practitioner, but with a lot more ceremonial headdress involved. This is a little-known historical detail. Mayan healers, like many traditional healers, often specialized in different areas. Some were masters of herbal medicine, while others focused on spiritual healing or midwifery. You, as a high-ranking priest, are expected to have a working knowledge of all these fields, to be a master of both the physical and the spiritual aspects of health. You must know when a problem is a simple physical ailment and when it is a sign of a deeper spiritual imbalance. Your knowledge of the human body is not just practical, it is also symbolic. You understand that the body is a microcosm of the cosmos, with different parts of the body linked to different gods and celestial bodies. Sickness in a certain part of the body might be a sign of a problem with a specific god, and your cure must address both the physical and the symbolic aspects of the illness. This is a complex and nuanced understanding of medicine, one that is far removed from a simple diagnosis and prescription. Historians still debate whether the Mayas' medical knowledge was a sophisticated system of empirical observation or a complex web of spiritual beliefs. For you, the two are inseparable. You have seen a poultice made from a specific plant stop a bleeding wound. You have also seen a chant and an offering drive out a fever. You know that both are real and both are part of the same sacred and scientific reality. Your days are now a constant balance of duties, advising the king, performing rituals, and healing the sick. You are a master of time, a keeper of knowledge, and a healer of bodies and souls. Your journey has taken you from the quiet of the jungle to the heart of the court, and now into the very homes of your people. You are no longer just a priest, you are a pillar of your community, a source of guidance and comfort, and your power is not just in the temples but in the hearts of the people you serve. The training in medicine and healing has anchored you to the earth, to the tangible needs of your people. But now you are called back to the ethereal, to the very edge of reality. You must learn to bridge the gap not just with ritual and blood, but with your mind and soul itself. Your next phase of training is a deep dive into the world of divine communication, the use of hallucinogenic visions and trance states to commune with the gods. This is the most dangerous and spiritually demanding aspect of your calling, and you carry the heavy burden of their messages and prophecies. The preparation for these visions is as meticulous as any of your astronomical calculations. You begin with a series of purifications, fasting for days, ritually cleansing your body, and spending hours in quiet meditation to clear your mind. The goal is to make yourself an empty vessel, a blank slate upon which the gods can write their messages. You are no longer the one seeking, you are the one waiting to be found. A little-known historical detail is that this preparation was considered as important as the substance itself. The mindset and ritual context were believed to be the keys to a successful and meaningful vision. The old priest teaches you the sacred plants and fungi. You learn to prepare the balke, a ceremonial drink made from fermented honey, and the bark of the balke tree, which is known to produce a mild, trance-like state. You also learn about the more powerful substances, such as certain species of psychedelic mushrooms, or the intoxicating smoke of tobacco and other herbs. These are not recreational drugs. They are sacred tools, and their use is governed by a strict code of ritual and respect. You are taught that they are a gateway, a way of opening the flower of your consciousness to the divine. Your first true vision quest under these conditions is a profound and terrifying experience. You are in a secluded chamber, the air thick with the smoke of copal. You ingest the substance, and soon the world as you know it begins to dissolve. The walls of the chamber shimmer and breathe. The simple patterns on your tunic seem to writhe with life. Sounds become colors, and colors become sounds. You feel a sensation of your soul leaving your body, traveling through a dark, winding tunnel into another reality. You are no longer in the physical world. You are in Sibalba, the underworld, the realm of the gods and the dead. In this state, you come face to face with the divine. You might see at Samna the creator, a benevolent old god with the face of a snake who offers you wisdom in a language you don't understand, but whose meaning you grasp instinctively. You might encounter Chak the rain god, a fearsome being with a long curved nose, and a serpent for a tongue who shows you visions of storms and floods. You might even see the jaguar god of the underworld, a terrifying deity of death and rebirth who demands a promise or a sacrifice in exchange for his knowledge. These are not dreams. They are real encounters, and the messages you receive are not fleeting images, but profound truths etched into your very being. The challenge is not just to have the vision, but to remember it, and more importantly, to interpret it. The messages are rarely straightforward. They are a jumble of symbols, metaphors, and feelings. You must return from your trance still reeling from the experience, and with a stylus and bark paper, you must attempt to record what you have seen. You might draw the image of a jaguar holding a maize stalk or a serpent eating its own tail. You then spend days, sometimes weeks, with the old priest, trying to decipher the meaning of these images. Does the jaguar represent a new king or a coming war? Does the serpent eating its tail signify the end of a cycle or the beginning of a new one? This process is a blend of spiritual intuition and intellectual analysis, and it is the key to your power. Historians still debate the true nature of these visions. Were they purely psychological experiences induced by psychoactive substances, or did they represent a genuine spiritual connection to a higher power? For you, the answer is simple: they are both. Your mind may have been altered, but the messages were real. They were the voices of the gods speaking to you in a language of symbols and sensations. This is a profound and terrifying responsibility. You are not just interpreting the stars. You are listening to the very words of the divine, and you must carry that burden without error. A funny thought might cross your mind during this intense process. It's kind of like being a divine telephone operator, but with much higher stakes and a lot more nausea. Your mastery of these trance states makes you one of the most powerful people in your city-state. The king and the people depend on you for divine guidance. They believe that you can speak to the gods, that you can see the future, and that you can save them from disaster. You are a living oracle, and your visions are the lifeblood of your civilization. You have become the voice of the divine, and that voice is the most powerful tool in your arsenal. The journey is not yet over, but you have now reached the highest pinnacle of your spiritual power, standing on the edge of two worlds with a foot in both. You have traveled to the underworld, seen the faces of the gods, and returned with their prophecies. Now you must translate those chaotic, mystical visions into the orderly, enduring language of your people. Your journey takes you from the world of ritual and trance to the world of the scribe, the keeper of history and the writer of sacred texts. You are now mastering the complex hieroglyphic writing system, your hand preserving the knowledge and the story of your civilization for generations to come. Your training as a scribe began early, but it was always in the background, a supporting role to your other studies. Now it takes center stage. You spend countless hours in a scriptorium, a quiet chamber filled with codices, stone tablets, and plaster walls waiting to be painted. Your tools are a sharpened obsidian stylus and a brush made from fine hair. Your ink is made from soot and water, and your canvas is bark paper deer hide or the smooth white surface of a plaster wall. A little-known fact is that Mayan scribes were highly respected, often coming from the nobility and holding a status similar to priests. They were not just writers, they were artists and historians. The Mayan writing system is a marvel of complexity and beauty. It is a logosyllabic system, meaning that it combines logograms, symbols representing entire words or concepts, with syllabograms, symbols representing phonetic syllables. You must learn hundreds of these glyphs, memorizing not just their shapes, but their different meanings and their various phonetic values. You learn to write the name of a god, the name of a king, the date of a battle, and the prophecy of a coming eclipse. Each glyph is a small work of art with its own intricate curves and details. You learn to read the glyphs not just with your eyes, but with your mind, seeing the entire story in a single complex block of symbols. Your primary duty as a scribe is to record the prophecies you receive in your trance states. The raw, unfiltered visions are chaotic, but your training in logic and language allows you to distill them into a coherent narrative. You inscribe the story of your encounter with Chak the rain god on a stone stela, a large carved stone monument for all to see. You detail the vision of a coming drought, a warning to the king to perform the necessary rituals. You write the story of a new king's birth, linking his lineage back to the gods themselves. Your writing is not just a record, it is a sacred text, a tangible link between the divine and the mortal. You are also a keeper of history. You are tasked with recording the great deeds of your king and his ancestors, ensuring that their legacy will never be forgotten. You write about battles won, temples built, and cities conquered. Your hand preserves the story of your people, a story that will be read by future generations of priests and scholars. A humorous thought might cross your mind. You are essentially the ancient Mayan equivalent of a social media manager, but instead of posting about what the king had for lunch, you're writing about his divine right to rule on a massive stone tablet. Historians still debate the extent of literacy in the Mayan world. While it is clear that only a small elite, including priests and scribes, could read and write, the very presence of these monumental inscriptions suggests that they were meant to be seen and understood by a wider audience, at least in a general sense. For you, this is a part of your duty. Your writing must not just be accurate, it must be powerful, a visual and spiritual testament to the greatness of your civilization. Your work as a scribe is a testament to the endurance of knowledge. You see how the old codices, fragile as they are, have survived for centuries, carrying the wisdom of your ancestors. You understand that your own work, if done with care and reverence, will also endure a beacon of light in a world that can be dark and unpredictable. You are a bridge not just between the worlds of the living and the dead, but between the past, the present, and the future. Your journey has now reached a point of permanence where your actions will outlive your own mortal life, etched in stone and painted on walls for all time. The world of glyphs and history has given you a sense of permanence, a feeling that your work will endure. But now you must return to the ephemeral, the constantly shifting flow of time itself. You are a master of the Mayan calendar, a living embodiment of its intricate cycles and the precise timing of every ceremony, from the grandest festival to the simplest offering. Your understanding of time is not just a scholarly pursuit, it is the very rhythm of your life and the life of your people. You learned the basics of the calendar as a child, but now as a high-ranking priest you command its full complexity. You are a master of the long count, a linear calendar that stretches back into the distant past and forward into the unimaginable future, a cosmic clock that measures time in vast cycles called byaktuns. You can calculate the precise day number of any event in history, and you can predict the date of any future event. This is an immense power, a way of anchoring your civilization in a timeless cosmic narrative. But your daily duties revolve around the two main calendars, the Tzolk'in, the 260-day sacred calendar, and the Hob, the 365-day solar calendar. You know that every day is a unique combination of a number and a day name from the Tzolk'in, and a day number, and a month name from the Hob. This combination creates a unique identity for every day, a unique spiritual energy that dictates the proper rituals and actions. You are the one who knows which day is auspicious for planting maize, which day is best for a bloodletting ceremony, and which day is a bad omen, a day for fasting and prayer. A humorous, anachronistic thought, you are essentially the ancient Mayan version of a personal day planner, but with a lot more divine guidance and a lot less cheerful stickers. Your mastery of the calendar makes you the central figure in all the great festivals and ceremonies. You are the one who announces the coming of the new year, a moment of profound spiritual importance when the gods must be appeased to ensure the prosperity of the coming year. You lead the rituals, the chants, and the dances that mark this transition, ensuring that the cycle of time turns smoothly. You are also the one who presides over the 5 unlucky days, the 5 days at the end of the Hab that don't belong to any month. These are days of fasting and quiet contemplation, days when the gods are believed to be sleeping, and the world is in a state of spiritual vulnerability. Your guidance is crucial during this time, a beacon of stability in a world without order. Historians still debate the precise purpose of the calendar. Was it a tool of religious control, a way for the priesthood to maintain power by controlling the flow of time? Or was it a genuine attempt to understand the cosmic order, a scientific marvel that allowed the Maya to live in harmony with the cycles of the heavens? For you, the answer is both. Your knowledge of the calendar is a source of immense power, but it is also a source of profound responsibility. You are not just controlling time, you are serving it. You are ensuring that the rhythm of the cosmos continues uninterrupted and your people can live in peace. This is a little-known historical detail. The Mayan calendar was so accurate that it had a built-in correction system to account for the slight variations in the solar year, a feat of astronomical and mathematical genius. You, as a master of this calendar, are a living repository of this knowledge. A human computer who can calculate the cycles with astonishing precision. Your journey has now reached a point of synthesis. You have mastered the stars, the rituals, the healing arts, the prophecies, and the written word. Now you have mastered the very flow of time itself. You are a master of everything that matters in your world, and your life is a constant rhythmic dance between the physical and the spiritual, the past and the future. Your hands, which once held a simple broom, now hold the very keys to time itself, and your power is immense. You have lived your life by the rhythms of the cosmos, a master of time and ritual, a pillar of stability in a world of uncertainty. But now that stability is shaken, an unseen threat emerges, a creeping, insidious challenge to everything you know and believe. Perhaps it's a drought that stretches on for months, turning the verdant maize fields into cracked earth. Perhaps it's a plague that sweeps through the city, felling young and old alike. Or perhaps it's a new powerful enemy at the gates, an army that seems to defy all the usual omens and prophecies. This is the ultimate test of your knowledge, your faith, and your people's belief in your divine connection. The drought is the most immediate and terrifying threat. You have performed every ritual, every dance, every blood offering to Chak, the god of rain. You have calculated the cycles of the heavens, and every sign points to a season of abundance. But the rains do not come. The sun beats down with a relentless fury. The cenotes, the sacred sinkholes that are your city's lifeblood, begin to recede their waters, turning stagnant and green. The people once filled with unwavering faith in you now look at you with eyes that hold a mixture of fear and doubt. You feel the weight of their gaze, a silent accusation. You are a master of the heavens, but the heavens are not listening. Your authority, once absolute, begins to erode. Whispers spread through the marketplace. The merchants complain that your prophecies have failed. The farmers mutter that the gods have abandoned them. Even in the court, you feel a new tension. The king, your once devout pupil, begins to listen to the advice of the general's men, who believe that strength comes not from prayer but from the spear. Your meticulously calculated calendar seems to be failing you, and with it your entire world is beginning to fall apart. This is a common theme in history. Periods of environmental stress often lead to a crisis of faith and a decline in the power of the ruling elite and the priesthood. You turn to the old ways, the most desperate of measures. You perform a grand ceremony of human sacrifice, offering the life of a captured enemy to the gods, a final desperate plea for rain. You stand on the top of the pyramid, the wind whipping at your ceremonial headdress, and you lead the chants, your voice hoarse and raw. The blood flows, the smoke rises, and you wait. But the sky remains a relentless, cloudless blue. The gods have not answered. This is where academic debate comes in. Historians still argue whether the decline of the classic Maya civilization was caused by environmental factors like a prolonged drought or by political and social upheaval. For you, the two are one and the same. The lack of rain is not just a problem with the seasons, it is a spiritual crisis, a sign that the gods are displeased with your city, your king, and perhaps with you. You are a man of faith, but you are also a man of science. You retreat to your observatory, poring over the ancient codices, searching for a pattern you might have missed, a cycle that you failed to account for. You recalculate the movements of the stars, the phases of the moon, the turning of the calendar wheels. You spend days without sleep, your mind a whirlwind of numbers and glyphs. But you find nothing. The cosmos, according to your calculations, should have brought rain. The failure is not in the stars. It is somewhere else, somewhere deeper, somewhere you cannot see. A funny thought might cross your mind during this intense period of self-doubt. For all your power, you are no more able to control the weather than a modern-day weatherman. This period of crisis is the most profound challenge of your life. It forces you to question everything you have ever believed. Is your power a delusion? Are the gods silent, or have they simply turned their backs on you? The stability you once felt has been replaced by a gnawing uncertainty. Your journey has brought you to the pinnacle of power and knowledge, only to show you its limits. You are a priest, a master of the cosmos, but you are also a man, and the fate of your people hangs in the balance, a fate you are now powerless to control. The drought and the doubt have been a slow, agonizing death to your power. The people have lost faith, the king has turned away, and the gods remain silent. You, the once revered bridge between worlds, are now just an old man, a figure from a forgotten past. Your journey, however, has one final, most important duty. It is not a duty to your people or to your king or even to the gods. It is a duty to yourself. You must perform your last, most important ritual, preparing for your own journey into the next world. A final peaceful ceremony that closes the sacred loop of your life. You retreat from the palace and the temple, from the noise and the disappointment, to a quiet place of contemplation. Perhaps it is a small, secluded hut near the jungle's edge, a place that reminds you of your humble beginnings. Here you begin the preparations for your own end. This is not an act of despair, but an act of profound faith. You believe that death is not an ending, but a transition, a new journey into the underworld of Xibalba. Your final ritual is a way of ensuring that this journey is peaceful and that you are prepared to face the gods and the spirits of your ancestors. You begin with a series of prolonged fasts and purifications, cleansing your body and mind of the weariness and bitterness of your long life. You meditate for hours, revisiting the memories of your training, the first time you saw the stars through the eyes of a priest, the first time you felt the power of the bloodletting, the first time you wrote a sacred glyph. You remember the triumphs and the failures, the prophecies that came true and the one that did not. You are making peace with your life, acknowledging its beauty and its tragedy, and preparing to let it go. You prepare your own burial offerings, a small collection of the tools of your trade, a sharp obsidian blade for bloodletting, a small piece of copal for a final offering of smoke, a stylus and a piece of bark paper for a final inscription. You will be buried with these items, a reminder of the life you lived and the power you once wielded. You will be buried in the fetal position, a common historical practice symbolizing a rebirth into the next world. You will be facing the west, the direction of the setting sun, the direction of the underworld. On your final day, you perform the ritual yourself. You make one last small blood, offering a final message to the gods that you are ready to come home. You say a final prayer to Itzamna, the creator, and to Ixchel, the goddess of medicine and childbirth, asking for a peaceful passage. You lay down on a simple mat, your body a canvas of a life well lived. The final act is not a dramatic public ceremony, but a quiet, personal one. You fade away, a soft whisper of a life lived between the earthly and the divine. You are not a king or a warrior, but your death is as significant as any of theirs. You are a priest, and you have closed the sacred loop of your life.